It's a beautiful song. Go see Wicked if you haven't seen Wicked. Oh, and by the way, while I'm doing that, The Wizard of Oz is over at Gretna, so see it before it closes, okay? Very important. Have to do a little plug for the other nonprofits in the area. My mom's over there. She is Regina, and she's 91 years old, so there's my mom. My sister's next to her, that's Linda and Claire, and my amazing husband is right here, that's Lowell. And as long as Debbie has put up with me, they've put up with me as long, at least. Well, my mom and my sister even longer. And they could have stories, let me tell you. So, I have some things written down, but hopefully I won't go too long. When I think of this place, I do think of family. You know, it's more than a job. I think I knew about Debbie was pregnant with Jeff before her husband did. You know, that's intimacy. You know? Not that I had a hand in it. But I mean, those are the kind of joys that we shared all along. We've been through so many things when we've seen each other more than our spouses and our children, and I have been blessed. I didn't know, Don, that you were going to do this because I did want to do a shout out to Susan. She took a chance on me. I was a guidance counselor. You know, how does a guidance counselor get to be in the theater? But I always loved the arts, and I always loved Hershey Theatre. I had one of my first moments here when I was young. So when I saw the opening at the Hershey Theatre, I ran to get here to have that interview. And thankfully you saw something in me.
One of my smartest decisions, my dear.
Well, I thank you. Debbie was there from the beginning. And Debbie is a character, let me tell you. We used to have a wall between us, but it was something open at the top. And these men who would come to the theater always would go and tell her the funniest jokes that were inappropriate. They didn't know that anyone else in the world could hear them. So I had to bite my lip so often, just laughing away at my desk while Debbie was on the other side. And this is the gal who really knows commitment. She came back to do a mailer after she had gone on maternity leave, and back in those days there were heavy trays. She actually went into labor right after she did the mailer. But right here, yes, Debbie and I have been around for a long time. So, and I do want to do another shout out though to Lowell. He had to put up with a lot. I mean, being in the, well, hey, being at the theater, there is a lot of nights and weekends, and back to me at Chunkertown Square, every summer holiday, that's where we spent our holidays. So we had to take the kids there, pack them up and go. But we sure had a lot of fun. So, but I do give them a shout out because Lowell, I couldn't do it without, So, in the theater, we always try to keep the drama on the stage. We specifically ask that our office is drama-free, and usually works. Sometimes it doesn't, but usually works. But it's so much fun to be in the theater because any way you feel, you can express it in a Broadway song. Can I hear an amen from those people? Amen! Any situation that comes up. So you can come in feeling really crappy and say, oh, today is just so horrible. And you can be sure that somebody's going to start singing, the sun will come out tomorrow. You know, and of course Debbie just groans at that point. If you feel a little depressed, you might hear someone start singing, "Gray skies are gonna clear up, put on a happy face." And I'm looking over at Dennis because he's a cohort in this crime. So everything in the world can be reduced to a Broadway song. You also know you've been in the theater too long when your book club reads a great book, but you always have to end with casting the book. Okay, now who would be great in this part? And this is just a spoiler alert. In our book club, Hugh Jackman is in every cast.
Amen.
Just name a book, we can get it in there. Yes, yes, yes. And you know, you've been in theater too long when most of your wardrobe is black. And if on your Pandora or your iTunes are mostly Broadway tunes, that's all true. But seriously, I remember the first conference that Susan took me to in New York. And we were sitting to lunch. It was just lunch. And out walked the Vienna Choir boys. And I started weeping, thinking, what have I gotten myself into that I can go to lunch? And here they are.
Good memory.
Oh my gosh! I've died and gone to heaven. and that's how I feel about this job. You know, what we provide for this community is more than just a facility. We are helping people create memories that last a lifetime. We see these people bringing in their kids for the first time and they're looking up going, wow. And you know that the seeds of tomorrow are being planted right here. And I'm just so thrilled. I'm leaving. But you know, the theater, just as Susan sort of trusted Debbie and I, and that's what we're doing. I mean, there's a crop of young people. I mean, look at Dan. Dan, how old are you? He's 22. And how much has he already added to the Hershey Theatre legacy? We are all so thrilled. All of you have done so much. But I did want to say one other thing about the Apollo Awards. I'm so thrilled that we're doing that. That is just, I'm glad I could leave and know that that is a secure future with Mariella and Tony and the bunch. It's a great program, and we're blessed to have it here. Now, if you heard that Tony messed up a little bit of the words, it's not his fault. I want to say a disclaimer. I always felt that song needed a bridge. So I threw a bridge to him at the last minute. And so we have to look at the bridge again. The bridge doesn't. But it sounded good in my head. But at any rate, it's about time for me to exit stage right. And, but you'll still see me around town working with Project Fellowship. Shout out to Mike and Jim over there. It's a wonderful program. If you're not involved with Project Fellowship, you should be. Or the Hershey Community Youth Alliance, or Hershey Symphony Masterclass. Okay, that's good. That's a confirmation. And of course, with the Apollo Awards. My wish for all of you is to have a wonderful life filled with great performances, life-changing experiences, and I want you to have great joy as you serve this community and the world, and I wish that your life is blessed with peace.